When it's like me, I go out of my mind. It's like me, baby, I've reached the Pritchard line.
And we're back. Judd'z Budz. Someone's already frozen. Episode 80. Off the top of my head, I can't think of anyone. Number 80 for the Wild. But as always, your host, Spoke Z, joined by my good buddy, Mr. At State of Hoppy. Hoppy, how we doing?
We're doing all right. I don't know. There's not too much to say.
Are we doing all right? I'm already angry.
Yeah, I know you're ready to break things, and I'm kind of like half scared, half laughing. So I don't have much to go off of here.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. My camera is going to just turn off randomly because the world hates me. So that's going to happen about 14 times. Fortunately, only one person's in here anyway, so that's fine. What a week.
It's been a week.
What a week in Minnesota. What a week in hockey in general. The world, probably.
Probably.
I mean, where do we even want to begin here?
Well, we can start over in your neck of the woods for the first couple. First, a lot of Gopher fans and just hockey fans in general are not thrilled that somehow BC lands yet another stud from the development program. Take your victory lap.
Both those Hagens boys coming on down to BC. The recruiting class continues. As Hoppy said, now both Hagens are committed to BC, so that'll be not next year, but the year after. BC, again, last couple of years, not exactly the same program, but clearly they are hitting recruiting hard again, and it's paying off. This year should be wildly entertaining. We'll see how many guys stick around for the year after that as well, because it looks like there's going to be another solid recruiting class, and that's easy a top 10 team in the country once all those guys are all there. I mean, we'll see what happens this year. Obviously, a lot of high-end incoming freshmen, a lot of very high draft picks. So things are looking up for BC. It's been a long 2 years of not being the perennial powerhouse in college hockey. So at the same time, BU's got a solid recruiting class as well over the next few years. So that's going to be a fun rivalry again. But yeah, the Hagens boys coming to BC, baby. And I'll be up in the press box eating popcorn, drinking my free waters, and kind of paying attention.
You think you'll get to play with that full line of studs that's already committed there for this year? Like, do you think they'll stick around?
No, that's what I'm wondering. Because I mean, if you're looking at those teams that those kids all got drafted, like they're not probably going to be in a huge rush to get any of them to join the team early. So I could see all of them benefiting also just from one every year. I mean, we'll see what happens with a guy like Will Smith, Ryan Leonard. We'll see what happens with them, but I would probably lean towards 2 of the 3 coming in this year, staying for at least one more year. And we'll see what happens with Will Smith. But again, if you're San Jose, you're probably not in a huge rush anyways to pull him out. But if he's ready, he's ready. But this year's going to be a whole lot of fun, especially considering they still have Cutter Gauthier there. So it's going to be a very entertaining hockey team. And they got a bunch of dudes that can not only play, but play hard and kill people. So it's going to be very entertaining hockey every game for BC. So I'll be walking to the games because I live right here. So it's fun for me.
Well, speaking of playing hard and killing people, Boston Bruins have a new captain.
Very funny. It's just first of all, I mean, my friend Sarah Griffin said it. People are going to hate the Bruins even more now. Just not only you're just going to hate them anyways, but now the captain is Brad Marchand, which just like the development arc for him like not only playing wise, but he's been like a villain since he stepped into the league, but just a wild career where he's still a top 15, 20 player in the league as he's, mid 30s. Took a while to get going, but once he did, he's this perennial 20 goal plus, 30, 40, hit 100 points once, but just an absolute rat on the ice. And a beauty off it too. He loves. They did the so they unveiled the jerseys and they did like a fashion show, and he was strutting it too. He is unbelievable. He's the funniest fucking bastard in the league. But yeah, Captain Brad Marchand. Did you ever think that would happen?
No, and a lot of people didn't think it would happen this year because apparently it's disrespectful to Patrice Bergeron that they named a new captain so soon.
It's insane. But, people just have to make themselves feel smart and feel important. So I don't think there's that many people who are actually.
No, I don't think there's many.
Subscribe to that,
well, also, it's bizarre that people are saying that for him when,
he's been
the captain for a couple of years. But Chara hands it over and it's like, oh, no big deal. I think it's because Chara went somewhere else and everyone wanted to be bitter. Whereas, Bergeron's done.
Right. And I mean, Chara at the end of his career in Boston last 2 years, was not obviously the same whatsoever. So there are a lot of people clamoring for Bergeron to get the C anyways. Those were the funny, callers in the Boston radio, just loud people on Twitter that the Bruins' lack of Stanley Cup success is because Zdeno Chara wouldn't make Patrice Bergeron the captain of the team. Those are always those were the best, dude. There were people that legitimately if they want to win a cup, tell fucking Z to rip that C off his chest and give it to Bergie. They'll win. They'll win every cup if Bergie's the captain. So that's the problem.
They just slapped a
why
Z
is
on
that
his
guy in
chest
the front
instead.
office? Yeah, they should have. Would have made a difference. They would have won those cups. Would have won in 19. Would have won in 13. It's obvious.
Couple others
Everyone
too.
knows this. What's that?
A couple others too, I'm sure.
All of them. All of the cups. Every cup. But
it's a shame. It's a shame.
That's what it is, bro.
But yes, very, very funny for an outsider looking in to have Marchand be the captain.
And from here though, it's a legitimate no-brainer.
No, not
you know
no
what I
brainer. Hang on.
Oh,
You're telling me that he was
no-brainer.
so he was hard and fast the only option you were considering.
Oh yeah.
You wouldn't give any consideration to McAvoy.
No. Not while Marchand's here. I mean, even when Patrice Bergeron was the captain, he was vocal, but
thumbnail. Spoke Z hates Charlie McAvoy and thinks that he could never be a leader.
Word for word. That's what happened. That's what I said. And the camera hasn't cut off, so you could see me say it too. But even when Bergeron was here and he was a captain, I mean, when he was here, it was literally fucking 5 months ago. It's last time they were playing hockey. But he was the one that, he was loud and vocal, but when it was time, he wasn't rah-rah, yelling all the time, super loud. Marchand was, he's been the one, he's a lunatic, obviously. So, but he's probably been the most vocal guy in that room. Even a guy like Nick Foligno, same thing. So yeah, no, it's a no-brainer. Everyone follows his lead too on the Bruins too. He's been the one establishing the culture there as well. So for me, I mean, obviously, we'll see how much longer he wants to play, but he's still an elite winger in this league, and he is the go-to leader on that team, and he's been around forever, and he understands the culture. So he's brought those guys along and made them, kind of have that attitude and identify the way they do. So it's been for me anyways, I think a lot of people would agree here. It was pretty much a no-brainer. He was realistically, there was no way anyone else was going to get it. And there are a couple other guys too, once Marchand's gone, that will be in the running along with McAvoy, that people would probably be surprised. A guy like Brandon Carlo is very high on. He was the first one of the young players to get an A on his chest. He's had an A for a while now.
Yeah, who are the A's this year?
I mean, it'll be probably, I didn't even look to see if they've said anything about it yet, but guys like McAvoy, Carlo, probably Pasternak. Someone was throwing, imagine David Pastrnak was the captain, that would be the funniest fucking captain in the league, dude. Like, that would be awesome.
It would be very fun. Imagine though,
It
if
would
the
make
Bruins,
no sense.
What if the Bruins went full heel? Whether like you just did it for
Milan
a warm up or
Lucic.
something? No. It even better. Give everyone on the team the C patch except for Marchand for warm ups, just to appease the people.
Yeah. This is how much we hate him. You know, we agree with everybody. He's a piece of shit.
We think the locker room is great. Marchand's really the only problem.
Yeah, it's just the one bad guy in the locker room. We can't stand him. I was just like randomly like I was just going down a like basically a Brad Marchand like fucking with the media rabbit hole that you do it. I like forgot about I think it was this year. So he does this, by the way, every time they're going to Toronto. Marchand loves it because he loves to fuck with the media because he knows it'll go crazy. So like they were talking about like, have you and like Bunting got into it, like tripping on the ice? He's like, no, I don't really know him like at all or whatever. Like I haven't really got into him. And well, he's just like, I haven't got into it with him, but you know, there aren't a whole lot of guys that like to chirp. You know, I like to, you know, Mitch, you know, Marner's always just run around talking about his dog. He's always wearing those terrible skates. But that's pretty much it. And they were like, what? Does he talk? He's like, no, I just tell him, you know, he's like my favorite player in the league. So it's so and like for 2 days, the media in Toronto was like, why do you think he said that? Like, what is this? Is he playing mind games? It's like, holy shit, he's a mastermind. Like it's all they talked about for 2 fucking days was Brad Marchand calling Mitch Marner his favorite hockey player.
An elite duo. The Toronto media and Brad Marchand.
He's just like, yeah, Mitch is, you know, he's talking about his dog and video games, and yeah, he's an amazing player. He's my favorite player in the league. Just like, what does he say? What does it mean? It's so good, dude. I love that. He's so good at that shit with the media specifically. But like every year when they're doing the road trip to Toronto, he does the same shit, and it works every goddamn time. Like every fucking time. When Marner was doing the contract thing, or when Marner was like, when he was having the whole thing about like not signing or whatever, Marshall was like, I think he should be the highest paid player in the league. It's like, I would pay him $15 million a year. It's my favorite player. And it's like, why is Marchand saying this?
I knew he fucked with the media. I did not know about this Marner infatuation. It's great.
It's very like Marner is specifically the one. He's always like, he's my favorite player in the league. I love him. I think he's incredible. Like, it's so sad he got rid of Twitter.
That's great.
It's so sad he got rid of Twitter. That was always the best, when he would get bored on the road and would just go on his phone and carve people in his Twitter or in like Instagram comments.
Mm-hmm.
Or when he would, you know, miss the puck in the shootout and the next day would post a picture of him lifting the Stanley Cup on Instagram. Like, what's up?
Oh, fuck.
Telling some random poor bastard who commented, oh, yeah, bud, your fucking Stanley Cup is you playing in your driveway.
Yes. It's the only one I remember, too.
Well, that one is, and then someone's like, oh, why don't you mix in a comma? Like, good grammar. He goes, I got plenty of commas, pigeon. It's so funny. It's so good. He's the best.
Oh, fuck. Well, from one mastermind sociopath to the next, we've got the conclusion of the Babcock ensemble.
Not Sean. That was not Sean.
I was waiting for you to catch that by yourself.
Yeah, not Sean. I mean, Jesus fucking Christ. Like, I think at this point, everyone's pretty much said everything that needs to be said. But, like, his track record of some of the bullshit that he's been pulling forever is legitimately insane. Like, and, you know, he's won 700 games exactly in the NHL as a coach, won a Stanley Cup.
God, they should have fired him just one game short of 700.
I know, right? They should have. They really should have. 700 fucking wins, gold medals, Stanley Cup. He's won everything you can win. Like, you know how big of a piece of shit you have to be to literally do all that and then at this point, Hall of Fame's gone. Like there's no chance. Like he has pissed away the Hall of Fame. He's one of the most decorated, successful coaches in NHL history, and he won't go to the Hall of Fame. And like I forget who I was listening to talk about it, but it's like every team that wins a cup, they always have like their big like anniversary parties or whatever, where they all get together. So like Detroit Red Wings, he's not fucking going. They don't fucking want him there. And like just some of God, I remember when like Franzen came out and like had that brutal interview where he's like still 15 years later, like sobbing in this interview, telling about like he had to go into therapy because of the shit Babcock was saying. And like after that, stories are coming out about exactly what he would say to him. And it was just like, why? Like there's hard coaches out there, and this is so different.
Your teammates hate you, like you should just quit.
No one likes to hear, why don't you just fucking retire, you fat piece of shit? And he's like scoring 20 goals, 30 assists, like he's like hitting fight, like he's doing everything that you would think a coach like Mike Babcock
even
would
if
like.
He's not though, like
I know that's just crazy.
Like, you still don't fucking do that.
It's just he's the lowest form of human being. Like, and it's incredible because he signed in Columbus literally within 10 minutes of his deal in Toronto. Like the second that last check cleared, he signed for a multi-million-dollar fucking contract in Columbus. And anyone that actually thought he spent the last few years like rehabilitating himself or changing, it's crazy because even now, I'm sure if you ask him, he would confidently tell you, "Oh yeah, I'll work again in the NHL. I'm Mike Babcock." Like, "Oh yeah, no, at no point has he like ever even accepted remotely an ounce of response. It's unbelievable.
Zero. And I'm worried to hear the stories about what he did to these fucking like duster college kids in Canada.
I feel like I remember that because didn't he go to UVM too at one point? Or maybe his
I didn't know that.
There.
I thought it was
can't remember.
Like, was it Saskatchewan? There was some university. Yeah. Like,
yes. It was maybe.
You gotta imagine that he just ridiculed these kids.
It's just, man, like I just can't even fucking begin to try to enter that like frame of like why? Like it's unfucking believable.
I think he enjoys the hell out of it, man. Like, and we talked about this on our episode that dropped on Monday with our boy Aaron Kenny of Beerly Hockey, and dude, I'm like torn between how bad of a person he is and like actually how smart he actually is in navigating all this. Like you said it perfect though. Lowest form of human, absolute sociopath. He is Dennis Reynolds. He absolutely is Dennis Reynolds from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Like, you know, he's like sitting there, like talking through all this with like, maybe it's an assistant coach that's not Pascal Vincent, but he's like, no, nothing's going to happen if they don't give me their phones, but they're going to give me their phones because of the implication. Now, you've said that word a few times, Mike. What implication? The implication that things might go sideways for them if they don't give me the phone. Now, obviously, that's not going to happen, but they don't know that. It sounds like they don't want to give you their phones, Mike. Now, you're just not understanding this, okay?
Of course I do.
God damn it. It's just like so ridiculous. The hoops that he jumps through. And I gotta throw this up here now. And everyone bear with me. This is probably going to be pretty brutal, but immediately this came into my head that if there's a Dennis system, there has to be a Babcock system. There absolutely has to be. So I literally threw this together this morning. So I will accept all criticisms. You can send them to, I believe it's the DM of @SpokedZ on X Great. Or Twitter. That's my complaint box. But I'll pull this up here and we're just going to talk through it because it's very much in line with the way Dennis Reynolds thinks. So we have here good old Mike Babcock.
That's just good editing right there. It's just phenomenal stuff.
Yeah, just brilliant. So we've got the Babcock system as laid out by Mike Babcock. Now, the first step when you flip the board, the B, befriend ruling class. Now, this can be pretty loosely interpreted, okay? This could be, front office individuals for, let's say, an NHL hockey team. It could be, say, a captain of a team that you're working with, or hell, maybe even one of your top scorers who signed a big ticket and is going to be there long term. Get in comfortable with them, make them think you're a good guy, and have some support from those up top. Again, the ruling class. We then move on to A. Alienate the youths. It's really important that if you want to really, get into a good position and really get to know these players, that you close them into an office, invite them to your home. But the key is alienating them and making sure that they have no one else around them from their team. It's really when you're in a great environment to get to know someone. The next B is blindside with demands. Now, this can take several forms, okay? We saw it, that maybe it's something like asking them for their cell phone and rifling through it for minutes before giving it back. Perhaps it's pulling in one of your young star players and saying, hey, I want you to rank your teammates first to last. Don't worry, I'm not going to tell anyone, though. Oh, shit. Wait, maybe I will. So this is really your chance to catch them off guard and make sure that you've put them into a really a state of submission. You want them to be your bitch. That way you're going to have a really good cohesive relationship going into the hockey season, making sure that they just feel as comfortable as they can, that you're going to help them get through the year. Then we've got the C. Con the media. You got to make sure you're peppering as much out there as you can, getting statements not only from yourself, being a reliable source that you are. You need to make sure that you bring back in that ruling class that you've already rallied with. All right? They've got to make big, strong statements in your defense so that anyone that might try and challenge you, there's really not much validity to it, especially if you're someone with Barstool Sports who really just has no cachet and everyone just wants to fucking bury you anyways online. So now that we've gotten through that, we've conned the media, we've kind of started down this path now. Next piece is offer yourself as tribute. Really being the bigger man, falling on the sword, realizing that you've become a distraction in the locker room, right? I mean, Mike Babcock, great human, noted great human by many. And, he just realized that he was a distraction. He was bringing down the Columbus Blue Jackets. No apology, which not needed because he hadn't done anything wrong, but no apology granted, and really just said, you know what, I'm going to step away because I'm a great person. I'm a good human being. I care about these players and this organization. The next C, cower away. The second it comes to light that perhaps you've misled people, perhaps you're a sociopath who, as you've seen outlined in the steps, Babcock, you're a pretty scummy human being. Now, you're not going to apologize for anything you've done. You're certainly not going to address anyone on the matter because, well, why does it matter? You're just going to kind of go hide away and not address the problem and hope that it eventually just goes away. And then the final step, this one is prescribed by myself personally, kick rocks. You are a scumbag piece of shit who should never work in hockey again at any level. You do not deserve forgiveness. The people that are coming out and calling everyone snowflakes and soft and, oh, back in the 90s and the 80s, we were tough. We could handle this. No player deserves this. This is absolute bullshit. Mike Babcock, you can absolutely go kick rocks. Z, critiques, thoughts, anything you could have maybe enhanced?
That's beautiful. I had no idea what to expect out of it. When the Hunger Games characters came up to offer yourself as tribute, that was good shit. Love the last one specifically, fucking kick rocks. Should have been done a long time ago. Now he's officially done. Like, that was his last chance. So Smell you later. That guy fucking sucks. By the way, sneaky. One of the worst parts of this is the whole thing when he invited that kid over for lunch, told him to give him his phone. Didn't even have lunch. Didn't even give him lunch. They
Didn't even have fucking lunch. But no, and the one where I had to come up with another example besides just yanking cell phones. Dude, what he did with Mitch Marner is just beyond appalling. Like, what a fucking loser. And good on Brad Marchand, the great leader that he is, coming in and rallying behind his boy Mitchie and his love of dogs.
Exactly. He's a good guy, that Brad Marchand. The Babcock system, ladies and gentlemen.
The Babcock system. Almost as psychotic as the Dennis system.
Almost.
Funny thing, for anyone that doesn't know, I think I've already talked to you about this, Z, but you know how It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, they kind of have like a bunch of relationships within the show outside of filming. So to any that don't know this, I'm going to basically be shattering a glass ceiling on you. Charlie is married to the waitress.
Mm-hmm.
They always were coming into the show, and it makes it so much funnier that he is the creepy dude that's trying to stalk her throughout the entire show. It's just great. That's good comedy. Many probably know by now that Mac and Dee, since the show, have gotten married. Do you know who Glenn Howerton is dating?
No.
He is dating the girl from the Dennis System episode. It's incredible. And he was on an interview for another podcast I listened to and basically said, like, yeah, you guys don't understand how brutal it is that, like, if I want to post a picture of me and my girlfriend on Instagram, I just have like hundreds of comments of people being like, yeah, Dennis System still works. Get her, bro. That's just brilliant.
Oh,
you can't escape it.
What a show.
It's incredible. The first 5 seasons are probably the best like sitcom television I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I was watching I went down was it? Oh, it was this past weekend. I watched probably at least 2 seasons. Just crushed them. It was so good. Just a very funny, like, first of all, just a show that's called It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia made it this long. It's still running, and like the content is horrific.
It's the longest running sitcom, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It is great though. They are so damn funny. Like, don't get me wrong, in the later seasons there's some ups and downs, but you're gonna run out of content when they throw out as many bangers as these guys do. And I don't know. It makes me feel good and disgusted at the same time that, like, there is actually a direct parallel between Babcock and Dennis. Like, It's insane that I can take all of his like sociopathic scenes, I can throw Babcock in and it totally works. I just did 2 of them, and that was without even trying. Gotta throw this out there from someone other than Sean Cosgrove. Important to note that his gold medals were quite a sham. Basically, we'll flip TV shows here. It was Dwight Schrute steering the ship. Taking us ashore, Michael. Oh shit. All right. From Joe Mama. Have you been eating cat food, Charlie? This is bad. All right, we need to get off of the Always Sunny train right now. Otherwise it will derail everything we're doing, which I guess doesn't even mean anything.
That's fine. Yeah, that's fine.
Already kind of off the tracks.
We're doing nothing.
All right. So we are turning the page on just noted, wonderful human being who only cares about others, which is why he gracefully stepped away from the Columbus Blue Jackets, the one and only Mike Babcock. Let's talk about the Tom Kurvers Prospect Showcase. Definitely some highs and lows there, but we got to start with the hat tricks. First, everyone's losing their shit over Connor Bedard's hat trick. Let's hear kind of all angles of it. Like, obviously, looked great, but is this just what he is going to do this year, or is this because he's going up against a bunch of prospects?
I mean, a lot of it has to do with the fact he's playing against kids either his age or a couple years older. He's obviously by far the best player on the ice with any of whoever he's playing against at a showcase like this. Any prospect, he's going to be by far and away the best player on the ice. But I mean, just the way he stepped in, like, it's always interesting when prospects, I'm not even gonna say like him because there's probably two that had this much like coming in, this much like hype or whatever, but high-end prospects, like elite number 1 overall picks, like, all right, let's see how this like first showcase really goes. Immediately comes in and showcases that weapon of a shot that he has. It's like, it's the pull, the drag, the power, the flex on the stick. He just immediately does it, and then goes on and scores 2 more ridiculous goals. Hat trick in his first time he throws on the Blackhawks jersey in like some kind of somewhat competitive, actually pretty fucking competitive, because as I told you before, there were like 15 fights. It was crazy, but immediately scores a hat trick first time he throws on the fucking jersey for a game. Like, if you were wondering why there was so much hype, if anyone that hasn't had a chance to watch, like, not even just like the highlights, but just a game of Connor Bedard, where when he is playing, every time it's just ISO cam. You are automatically ISO camming Connor Bedard everywhere he goes. He is fucking unbelievable. And it's really interesting too to see where the lines are, like projected goals for the season. Like, they did enough to add a couple decent players up front. Like the fact that he's got Taylor Hall, that's going to be a big help for him, obviously. But the fact that he's not like completely on an island in Chicago this year, I'm sure is going to help him like boost the stats a little bit. Not that he even really needs tons and tons of help, but like, he is fucking unbelievable. And it's just a showcase like that. I'm not shocked that they didn't play him. Of course, it was the Minnesota game he doesn't play in. Of course, he doesn't play in that one.
It's for the best.
It was crazy that he was even playing in that other game. Like, it was so risky that he was. They
didn't want that.
I know
they were gritting
like,
the entire time. Like,
yeah, they're like, you got your fix. You're done. You're done. You're over. Okay.
Connor, you got 2 goals. Please stop. No.
Connor, sir, Connor,
sir.
Please. You've had your fix. That's enough. Please stop. He is just a fucking alien. I am like, that was the one thing that could have made the Blackhawks interesting and intriguing, like an intriguing team to watch this year. So I am actually, unfortunately, now going to make myself tune into a whole lot of Blackhawks games. Because he's obviously got all the hype that like guys like McDavid, Crosby, Matthews, like same kind of hype. But you look at those guys and it's like Connor McDavid, 6'2", Austin Matthews, what's he, 6'3", 6'4", like 200 and something pounds. Like, he's fucking huge. Which I always forget.
Matthews is taller than McDavid?
Yeah. He's a big motherfucker, dude. He's huge.
Right.
But then you've got Connor Bedard's like 5'10", and he is still, so it's like it's still different. Just like like he does look his age, like he looks tiny. So everyone that tried to find a way early on, it was so funny. Like in last year at this time, people were just looking for reasons that it's going to be a challenge, him and Fantilli for like first overall. And I mean, Fantilli, by the way, did his thing at their showcase, fucking 5-point game the day Babcock got gassed.
I mean, that's what fueled him.
Yeah, he's like, fuck this guy.
I'm free.
But there's just no comparing any prospect right now. It's not even remotely close to the hype of Bedard and how good that kid is. So it's going to be very exciting to see what it looks like in the NHL. But I think he will be fine. So anyone that was wondering how it would go, the first showing was exactly what we were all expecting, I think. So he's fucking unbelievable, dude. Like, it's a joke. The way I just don't understand the power he can get on that release as he pulls the puck in, like basically touching his skate blade. Like, he's got it that close and he just rifles it every goddamn time. It's unbelievable. He's insane. So,
what's the over under for goals and points that you'd set?
I don't know what I mean. I never obviously did it myself, but I mean, like, for me, any rookie that's going to come in and pot 30, you're like, holy shit.
Kenny at 40.
Yes. The interesting thing, like,
can he reasonably hit 40? Like, would you be pretty shocked, or would you be like,
I'd be impressed. I think I'd be impressed.
Okay.
But, like, you're like, okay, if anyone had any doubt that this kid could do it, there you go. Like, shove it up your fucking ass. Like, what did Matthews hit? 40 in his rookie year?
God, that seems
I think he hit 40, but he had guys like Marner, Nylander, like Kadri's nasty, like all these other guys around him too that helped. Obviously, it was a good fucking team. They made the playoffs.
Dude, he's got Foligno, he's got Perry, Seth Jones.
I keep forgetting that they fucking signed Corey Perry too. That's fucking unbelievable. It's such a ragtag. It's the weirdest hockey team. Like, if you just look at their lineup,
I kind of want him to play on a line with Bedard. Like, I think that could be fun.
Oh, it'd be fun as hell, dude. Oh god, anyone that touched him, Perry would be like, I'll probably lose this fight, but I don't care. Fucking, I'll just fucking karate chop somebody. But yeah, I mean, I think he is going to step in. I mean, I really hope he has. Actually, wait, I probably don't hope. Is it their first game against the Bruins, or is that their second game? The Bruins' first game.
I think the opening game of the season is them against Pittsburgh.
Okay, good. All right. At least it'll be the second. All right. Well, actually, and then in that case, I'm sorry for this. I hope he steps in and does the Matthews fucking debut. Hat trick, player of the game. Like, unbelievable. Like, he's so fucking good, dude.
He's either going to score like an Ovechkin trick, or Letang is just going to end his life. I don't know which.
Yeah. One or the other. Dude, and so this goes back to when we talked about how I threw money at Crosby to win the Hart. Dude, I just like randomly did, because I was bored at work one day. Well, I mean, I was remote, so I was working. And I had like 20 free minutes where I was like, I don't need to do anything right now. Every day, all day, whole day. I was like, I kind of want to just see what. So I went on ESPN. I did like a fantasy draft just to kind of see like what people were thinking. I got Sidney Crosby in the third fucking round. Like, Bedard went 20 spots before him. I was like, are people fucking out of their goddamn mind? Like, it's unbelievable. So maybe there aren't a whole lot of people who have like even the smallest amount of doubt that Bedard's going to step in immediately and light it up. I could not. I was sitting like, what's happening right now? Does Crosby have some like major injury I'm not aware of? Like, I don't understand. Yeah. So I guess that's what people are thinking. Or just the people who do a ESPN fantasy draft at like noon on a weekday. I don't know. So that could have something to do with it.
What an oxymoron, though. An ESPN fantasy hockey draft.
Yahoo takes too long.
Fair enough.
I didn't have the time. I didn't have the time to do the Yahoo one.
All right.
But yeah, we can move on.
Yeah. Well, speaking of hat tricks, Sammy Walker looking okay. Yeah,
I mean, again, it's crazy. Like, I was very curious to see how his AHL season would go once they got him from Tampa. And obviously we saw immediately stepped in, lit it up in the AHL, like showcasing even more like offensive skill set that he did at Minnesota. Part of that has to do with the fact that Minnesota's got every year they've got kids that are going top 10 in the draft, like elite high end offensive players. And like Sammy Walker was the kind of like the ultimate complimentary hockey player there. I feel like pretty much just do whatever you need him to do. He can chip in some offense, but he wasn't like a go-to guy, obviously, for them. And immediately, like, again, just showcasing skills that I have not seen him like showcase while he was in college, and he was doing it every game. And then the few games he played in the NHL fit right in and like didn't change his game whatsoever. And again, he steps into these showcase games and lights it up. Another hat trick for him as well. And I'm really curious to see like where this goes for him, because again, like now that finally, we'll touch on this, Addison finally signed. But who knows how many call-ups they can even afford this year. But like Sammy Walker, with where he's at with his age and everything, this is about the time that you want to be like stepping in the NHL. And he's shown that he can be an NHL player. Obviously, he's been there pretty much at this point, their go-to call-up last year, like when they were, looking for anybody to come in and chip in. But like he's good enough to play. Like he can play in the NHL for sure. It's just like Minnesota has the craziest weird like logjam in terms of like money and like their roster makeup and everything like that. So it's crazy because Minnesota ended up being the perfect spot for him last year to step in and produce in the AHL and like be surrounded by players that would help him as well. But in terms of like an NHL future with where he's at with his age, it's just like, it feels like that's a bit conflicting almost, but I mean, it's not like he's like 30 years old, but he's just older than most kids that you call prospects, of course. But
sure,
he was phenomenal. Like every shift, like doing it at both ends of the ice too, obviously producing points, but like you notice him defensively, he's physical, he plays hard. Like he's just a really smart hockey player. So yet another guy that like we've seen over the past few years, like with Iowa though, like they've got a whole lot of guys I feel like that have come up and like chipped in and been solid players, like in a middle six role or a bottom six role. Like they can play. It's just there's just always been this fucking like logjam of players, and now you've got like the cap situation. So interesting. Well, it'll be interesting to see how many games he gets this year, because I'm sure they'll finagle away with this cap, because they always do. Every team always does, but they're just in that precarious spot where they've got 40 grand in space. They can't really afford a call at this point, which is fucking crazy to me. It's really funny. It's a very funny thing to me. It's just like we can't call anyone up. It's unfortunate, but it sucks. But he looked fucking great. A couple of guys. He was one of a few guys from Minnesota specifically that stood out.
Well, dude, he's gonna look even bigger now that he took number 18 for his jersey.
That's right. That's right, baby. That's right. Let me see.
But yeah, I mean, I'll open it up to you here. Like, who else from the tournament like stood out to you? Like anyone else that's worth discussing?
Well, two guys. Well, there are a couple for sure, but even before the standout guys, two guys I was surprised and very happy to see. Number one, Pavel Novak played, and it was so fucking good to see him play again, dude. Like, because I knew he was like healthy again, but then got hurt, so I wasn't sure if he was be playing again. I didn't, as I've told you before, I have not in the off season. I just don't pay attention to what's going on. So like the second he stepped on the ice, I was like, "Fuck, that's fucking awesome!" Just like like the amount of resilience that takes, and like just mental fortitude to have to step away literally because you have cancer, then come back and play again. It's good for him. Very happy to see him. And then another guy that I was not sure if he was going to be healthy, Kyle Masters played, and he looked incredible. He had a couple of assists in those games. It's just that injury that he had, like the way he went flying into the boards, looked like, I was like, oh boy, like they said it was already right there, like a couple months. I was like, that could really fuck him up, especially when one of the hallmarks of his game is skating. He looks just as good as he did before. Super fucking mobile, incredibly physical too. He was getting in the mix every time he had a chance to. But the puck moving and like just the overall willingness to get involved in the offense, like we've talked about before, what he was when he was in Red Deer, when they were completely restricting his game, like not letting him do what Kyle Masters like excels at. He goes to Kamloops, gets the opportunity to jump up in the offense and just have the puck and like be fully free. It looks like that's going to translate just to how he approaches the game at the next level as well. So that's very exciting to see. and Iowa's gonna have a bunch of young players now. Like they do convert, like they actually have all the young players that we every year we're like, oh, this team's be really fun. And then you find out they signed like 8 guys to AHL deals. Everyone else goes back to fucking juniors. But now you're gonna have guys like Masters, Bankier, Lambos, Simon Johansson, Damon Hunt, like all those guys, Ryan O'Rourke, all of it. Like there's gonna be a bunch of young players on that team with legit ceiling. So that's gonna be very exciting. It makes it significantly harder to play because the AHL is a very old league, obviously, and it's fucking a tough league to play in for a young player. But the fact that they will have a bunch of young guys there is going to be so fun, very fun to watch. But those were 2 guys specifically I was very happy to see, just like health-wise, specifically Pavel Novak fucking fired up that he's back to playing again. Because, I mean, God damn it, that last year before he got sick, he lit up the WHL on a very average hockey team. So, but those are 2 guys specifically I just wanted to mention. Obviously, Sammy Walker did his thing. And I'm telling you, man, Rasmus Kumpalainen is so fun. Like, he's massive and it's interesting because I said this before. Like, it's tough to say, like, he's not the best skater in the world, but he makes it work because he's so incredibly A, skilled, but B, like, shifty, where, like, he knows he doesn't have that, like, burning speed, but, like, he can just somehow from a standstill, like, DQ out and create, like, 3 feet of separation for himself. And he did it a few times where it was, like, high risk. Like, he had 2 guys on him at the offensive blue line, where if they stripped him of the puck, like, it was a 2-on-0 for sure. And every time he looks like he's just like dead to rights, gonna like cough up the puck, and he just gets through whoever it is every time, drives to the net, draws penalties, like, and he obviously is not afraid of the physical side of the game. So, you know, he's got all the skill in the world. He's very fun. He's very flashy with the puck, but he also has a mean streak in front of the net too. So he makes himself quite a versatile offensive player. But I thought he made a ton of plays with the puck that stood out quite often. So he's really fun. Again, I said this after the draft, like, sneaky, the most intriguing pick was that Kumpalainen, just because he's got those foundational, like, traits and skills that make him ultimately successful at, like, the NHL level. It's just there's a few major roadblocks he's going to have to get over, like the skating part. And he's going to have to make himself quite useful defensively, but
kind of important.
Yeah,
okay,
but so fun to watch though.
Fair. The one I got to ask about is the twins, Height and Hate. What do we see there?
I think I literally have to, like, actually, now that when you bring them both up, you actually have to slow down. I'm like, Hunter Hate. Okay. Dude, I would assume he's going to be back in Saginaw. He is going to eviscerate the OHL. Like, he looked so goddamn good. Like, the skating, the skill, the smart play. Like, and again, he's one of those guys that, like, maybe in zone defensively is like, that's where he runs into trouble. But he's as a forward, he's able to kill so many plays in transition just because he's such a good skater. He's so good with his stick too that he makes himself useful and can just eliminate a whole lot of, like, offense for the opposition before it even, like, starts. As they're breaking up the ice or whatever. But he looked dynamic offensively, making so many plays. And I gotta tell you, that first game, he got involved. This poor fucking kid. He like got involved in some, like, scrap in front of the net. And of course, the dude, I can't even say his name. I don't know how to say his name on St. Louis. Just decided, no, I'm going to fucking fight Hunter Hate. The kid's like 23, like, fighting in the AHL, and just started going to town. And Hunter Hate didn't even have his fucking, like, gloves off, and he's just getting a beating. And then he started throwing some back. I was like, holy shit, all right, he's standing in there. And then he caught one uppercut and, like, his legs went. I was like, oh no, please God, please do not tell me this kid just got knocked the fuck out, concussion, out for a couple. Like, it was bad. But he popped right back up, served it, somehow got a 5-minute major for fighting, technically, for getting beat up. First shift back, goal. I was just like, thank God he's all right. First of all, thank God he's fine. Like, I mean, dude, I could like hear the punch through the tee. It was brutal. I was like, oh no, that's it. There goes a couple months. That's a conk. But he came back, scored, and then he lit it up the second game too. So he looked so good. And then Riley Height, there we go.
Nice.
Also, again, everything about his game that made him, to a lot of us, a for sure first round pick, you saw in the showcase. So much skill. He's obviously, he can score goals. He's got a phenomenal shot, great release, but his playmaking is dynamic, man. Like, just sees plays that you have no idea are even there. He's another one of those kids that just thinks 3 plays ahead. He creates passing lanes and finds a seam for himself. But and that's another kid that loves the chippy shit. So he looked great too. But it was weird, dude, because like I looked at that. We talked about it last week. I looked at the roster St. Louis is bringing, and I was just like, man, there's a couple guys that are like good players, but a bunch of guys that are like maybe like older, like looking for a potential deal somewhere, and they beat the piss out of Minnesota. Like physically on the scoreboard, it was like a bloodbath. I was just like, this is brutal. And then they played fairly well against Chicago. I actually watched like 2 periods of the Blues in Chicago game. I couldn't tell you how they did, but they looked great. But part of that, I feel like, has to do with the fact that they did bring like an older group and a bunch of guys that probably should have got drafted before. Like I said, the Austrian kid or the Swiss kid, Biaska. I can't remember how to say his name, but they beat up Minnesota, which I was very surprised about. But yeah, no, again, overall, just super fun. I love those showcases. As I was saying before, dude, super physical. Like, I mean, specifically the Chicago and Minnesota too. That game got nasty. Like, every goddamn whistle, there was like scrums. Ryan O'Rourke stood in there and fought Nolan Allen, who is a giant, mean mutant, and did fairly well, ate a couple bombs, but stood in there and that he fought. I think it might have been Hunter Haight that got crushed at the blue line. He stepped in and fought Nolan Allen. It's just crazy. It's just like, which again, I cannot believe the Blackhawks even let Bedard play in one of these games, because it just gets so nasty immediately. But again, just an overall super fun like tournament showcase to watch. Just seeing like the young talent versus other young talent, and like it's always entertaining, especially with some of the guys you don't really hear a whole lot about, and especially the guys who aren't necessarily signed to any deals, or maybe they didn't get drafted, seeing what they can do to like make themselves stand out. So no, overall fun showcase to watch for sure.
Fun. Well, let's talk about it then. Calen Addison is a member of the Minnesota Wild.
They did it. Was it 1 year? Was it 800? Like
825?
825. I mean, I think everyone figured the second camp would be imminent. He'd sign. So what did he sign the day before? Pretty much, I think at that point, like, they literally couldn't give him any more money. So he took what they gave him with the 1 year deal.
He should have held him to the fire. Like, give me that 43. Give it to me.
They have $1 in cap space to start the year because Addison just really needed that.
No, $2.
He really needed that. The 21 an hour salary. He really needed that extra. You know what I mean? He just needed that extra salary. Thank God they signed him. I really would have been upset if their third pair was Goligoski and Merrill. That would have been terrifying. And they've got their power play quarterback. So obviously he's got a chance now he has no choice but to really earn that next paycheck. Which I think he is going to. I think he's going to have a monster year. I really do. I think he's going to step up and play really well. He's never going to be like oh, let's throw him on the PK. He's never going to be that guy. But guess what? That's fucking okay because he's the only player you have right now that can run your goddamn fucking power play.
You know what, though, Z? It'd be pretty electric to watch him just fucking feed Dewar for shorties.
That's true. That would be very entertaining.
That'd be very fun.
We would love that for sure.
But no, yes, I am with you. He will have a very, very good year. I've got him. My bold take: 30 power play points this year.
Just power play points. 30 power play points.
30 power play points.
I think everyone would be very happy if that was the case because that means that they're producing the power play, especially when he's on the ice. But yeah, I mean, he's more than capable. Like, legit power play quarterback at such a young age. Like, and people always, I fucking hate when people try to use like the whole power play point thing against players as if that's like, oh, it's super easy to fucking get points in the power play. Not as a fucking QB. Like, on a dog shit power play, by the way.
I was going to say, yeah, there's some power plays that would beg to differ.
Yeah, put him in Edmonton. I wonder he'd be a fucking
Edmonton,
point per game.
Fine. Yeah. Dude, yeah. Bouchard will put up a point a game this year just because he's on that power play.
Yeah, exactly.
I also love him. He's so fun, but
yeah, the oldest looking 24-year-old ever.
Oh my
he
God.
Looks like he's 45.
I
held this picture up to the first lady. I was like, how old do you think he is? And she was like, I feel like you're asking me this because he's going to be younger than he looks. 32.
I don't know, dude. I think you just came up with a great new segment for us. We just bring on the first ladies and either ask them, how old is this player? Or there's got to be other fun games we can play. Like,
nope, that's it. That's the only one right now. That's all we got. Yeah,
put up 3 pictures. Which one of these ones is the Russian?
One of the pictures is Alex Ovechkin drinking a fucking Dr. Pepper on the fucking bench. All right, it's got to be that guy. It's got to be that guy.
No. For all of them, it's all situational, and we blur out the face.
Yeah. Yeah,
GIF up the guy sitting on. Wait. Nope. Not the fat guy with the pop on the bench. That's got to be Phil Kessel. The other one, that's a Russian.
Yeah. You get the blur the face, but just put the GIF up of Ovechkin eating a puck in the teeth and not reacting. One of the most incredible videos. Pierre is like flinging himself backwards, trying to avoid the puck, and it just goes. You just go like lick the blood. He's like, yeah, I love that. It's like, Jesus Christ. My God.
Okay.
But either way, but seriously though, as I was saying, I fucking hate when, especially with a kid like Addison, if you try to use power play points against, like, that's such a fucking joke. It's like, okay, who else did it? Who the fuck else on the team did it? No one, because they can't. He's the only fucking one that's able to do it. It's a joke.
Well, and
the power plays are so important. Look at every team that wins the cup. Any team that wins the cup, look at their fucking power play. I bet you it's top 10 in the league every goddamn
team that wins a fucking round probably has a serviceable power play.
Literally, unless you're the Boston Bruins in 2011. Right. Other than the 2011 Bruins, when that was like a different fucking game, dude, they had Andrew Ference on the power play at one point. It was that bad, but they went. I think that year was like they went 1 for 35 the first 2 fucking rounds.
They had their number 1 goalie on the bench for the whole playoffs. Like, it was banana land.
Dude, there was it was game. Not that anyone gives a shit about this, but that series, Bruins Flyers, and they swept a game 3. They had not scored a power play goal yet. They were like 0 for 34, and they were up like 4-0 with 2 minutes left in the third period on a 5-on-3. They threw out the fucking number 1 power play unit. Next question. Laviolette was just like, I know, I get it.
Yeah.
Oh, people do give a shit about this. That and the empty net thing.
Oh God, the empty net.
People do. AKA Canadians do care about.
For those on podcast, someone other than Sean Cosgrove said 37% of Ovechkin's goals are on the power play. Who cares?
Canadians. It's the empty netters. That's what people give a shit about. It's fucking
Like,
unbelievable.
because it's super fucking easy to score an empty netter. Like, you're not out there against 6 guys who are going fucking balls out trying to score. And you're like, oh, yeah, let me just, like, lightly toss this into the net.
It is like, it's
Have you seen the play from the Dallas Stars and the Edmonton Oilers?
Oh, that was one of the greatest of all time. That's an all-time fucking clip. It is like, it's fucking unfathomable to me that there are actual human beings similar to myself who can like injure themselves. And I say this as one of these people in terms of just not what comes after this, but getting out of bed, you can injure yourself. Like, I will pull something getting out of bed, and I'm going to sit here and fucking talk shit on Twitter about fucking power play points. Are you fucking kidding me? It's like, no, I could have done that. You can't get out of bed, and you're going to say that you could go quarterback a fucking power play in the NHL.
They're just sitting there, like, leaning back in their recliner. They've got a pool of potato chips crumpled on their, like, belly. It's like, oh, I could fucking do it.
Yeah, you're making your fucking 11-year-old go get you a beer because you don't want to fucking like get up on your recliner and go grab it. But yeah, you can quarterback that fucking power play for sure. Fucking.
I mean, that's why people have kids, right?
Maybe I gotta start getting back on Twitter. I'll get fired up again. It's fucking crazy to me. The people that are like, I could do that. It's like, you can't skate, or anyone that does it, and like, you wouldn't know how to put the equipment on. You literally could not make yourself eligible to get on the ice. You'd be like, where did the socks go? How do they stay up?
Oh, these skates are real tight.
This hurts. Ooh, my feet are like numb. Fucking unbelievable. These fucking losers.
Yes.
Anyways, move on.
It's all so great. News that came out today, first day of
oh Jesus,
team activities. Ryan Hartman leaves the ice early, which immediately has people acting super rationally about everything. Z, I gotta ask you though, since you told me that you weren't plugged in today, who do you think replaced him on the line?
Darby Hendrickson.
Close. Not
Freddie Gaudreau.
Kind of, yeah. Freddie,
yeah, of course he did. I love it.
Freddie.
You know, Dean's like, I gotta stick to this bit. It's just like Freddie. He's
like,
double shifted. Double shifted.
Guy.
Both lines. Yeah.
Freddie Eck, Freddie Doer. Freddie Eck, Freddie Doer. Freddie Eck. Done.
Paul's Gustafson. Freddie. Go.
Marty on the ice, coach. Fucking do it again.
Oh God. And just because this is how my brain works, the fact that I just mentioned pulling Gus, I am obsessed with the fact that like Gustafson is just constantly thinking about like riddles and puzzles while he's in the net. Like, I am obsessed with the fact that he's sitting there like, trying to figure out these fucking riddles in the middle of a game. It's so funny to me. He put up like Vezina numbers the whole time. He's like, I don't even know what happened. I was just thinking about this fucking riddle. I can't figure it out. It's like, that's my favorite shit in the world, dude. Goalies are fucked. Oh God, I love that guy. So what were you thinking when you backstopped the Minnesota to that win at double OT in Dallas? Well, I couldn't feel my legs, and I just could not stop thinking about this fucking riddle.
So this horse, this guy rides into town on a horse on Friday, but 3 days later he leaves on Friday. How does it make fucking sense?
How did this? God damn it! He's just sitting like, I don't fucking. Ovechkin's just eating one tease, just fucking.
The doctor's his mom. The doctor's his mom. Got it.
Motherfucker.
Oh shit. It's fun. It's so fun. I think the only thing I had left here is just that apparently someone who we thought was never going to play hockey again in Russia got back in the lineup.
Murat Huzudinov back in the lineup for SKA, playing incredibly limited minutes, but finally made his way back in the lineup. He's playing. Feel like it's unbelievable too, because I feel like part of it is still like, yeah, I'll put you in the lineup, but I'm still gonna fuck with you. Like he'll be iced on the second line, like second line center, for like the opening shift, and then the rest of the game he's like fourth line wing. It's like you are a motherfucker, dude.
The rest of the game he's like, sorry, you've actually been benched for Freddie Gaudreau.
It's fucking unbelievable. But I mean, at the very least, I am happy he's back in the lineup. He's playing like 12, 13 minutes a night, all in the defensive end. But I looked at his underlying numbers, and they are fucking incredible. Like, I think the first game back, he played 11 minutes or something like that. His Corsi was like 87%. He was on the ice at even strength for like 14 shots for and 2 against or some shit. I know that's not the math, but his expected goals were like 76% both of his games. Like, if he's on the ice, good things happen. And again, if you know anything with the KHL, you know SKA, they do not lose. They don't lose games. It's fucking Putin's team. He might be a little distracted at the moment, though, so maybe he's not aware of the hockey shit that's going on. But I think they're in last place. They've won 1 game so far. They are very bad. I think their leading scorer is Nikishin, who's an incredible Hurricanes defensive prospect. He's like a point per game, and he fucking lights people up. Like, some of those open ice hits he was throwing last year were he was popping buckets left and right. Like, I mean, he was decapitating people, but he's very fun to watch.
Well, I mean, that's good too, because if there's a team that's been starved for good defensemen over the years, it's definitely the Carolina Hurricanes.
Yeah, no, exactly. They've never had one. So we'll see what that translates to, and like towards like an NHL future for that kid. But again, I'm happy that he is playing again. He's not getting scratched. We'll see if his ice time.
The Hurricanes. Sorry, did you hear any of from the like media circuit that everyone did like a week ago? Did you hear from the player that the Wild should have drafted instead of Rossi?
Oh God, no.
So they're talking to him. Seth Jarvis, this is, and they start talking to him about Brent Burns, and he is just beyond fascinated by this human. Like, first off, that he like literally set a points record for defensemen as like a 39-year-old, but then just like how he spends his summer and shit, which I don't know if I've told you.
It's incredible. It's incredible.
Back when he was at the Wild and he was a young guy, like he still didn't have a beard or anything. They like did a special feature on on TV, and it was someone going in like, let's get to know the Wild players. And they go into his house and he starts giving him a tour of all the fucking animals he has. He has a room that just has drawers of like reptiles. He had like 7 or 8 dogs, several cats, like just a bunch of shit. It was insane. It's like immediately you're like, this is quite the fascinating human.
So this guy's sick. All right.
Right. So Jarvis starts talking about the ranch, right? And like being invited out there, and basically said that he turned down the invite as soon as he was told that if you go outside, you need to wear your snake boots. But he's got fucking zebras and shit out there, man. Like, it's fucking wild.
Yeah, it's incredible.
He's like, yeah, as soon as snake boots came into play, I'm like, I'm sitting this out. No.
Dude, one of my favorite things about, everything he does is incredible, but like, you want to talk about the way he spends his summers, like when he was packing up his family in the RV so they could go on like tour the country basically, and they would like at night, like to sleep, they'd pull like a Walmart parking lot and he would get a workout in. Like, he had all the fucking weights and shit, and he would just set up like a mini weight room in the parking lot of a Walmart and just like go nuts for an hour and a half. And then they would go to sleep, and he's gonna drive to the next fucking city.
Oh, even the meth heads that are sitting there like shaking with their knife, they're like, I'm not fucking with this.
You know what? I'll stay away from that.
Yeah.
That RV is probably worth $4 million, but I'm not going near that fucking thing. That guy's fucking he's one of us. He's one of us, actually. He just happens to be really
just walk up like, hey, dude, where do you get your stuff?
Dude, that guy, he is crazy. The NHL really has missed, like, there's several players I think the NHL missed out on, like, marketing wise. How have they not, like, all they've done with it was like, oh, look at his beard.
No.
Crazy?
No, they've also said, oh, look at this. Him and Joe Thornton with no shirts and beards. Cool.
Look at that. Watch hockey. Like, how, like, you, like, he is the most fascinating human being. And NHL's like, yeah, that beard's crazy, man. I know.
Oh, dude, the move will be straight out of semi-pro. They're going to retire his jersey in San Jose, and they're actually going to wheel out there an actual tank with a shark in it. He's just going to jump in and wrestle it.
God, that fucking guy, dude. He rules. I love that guy.
He's great.
Again, I just
so
let's market that beard though. And they're nuts. Watch hockey. It's sick. The NHL's cool. Finger guns.
Yes. This is good. This turned out to be an okay episode. Like, it's funny. If anyone saw behind the scenes, like, you and I connecting before we jump on, like, zero energy. You're ready to break shit. You won't even, like, answer, like, I don't care. I don't want to talk about anything. And then we get in here, and by the end, you're just absolutely buzzing.
Yeah. The camera only went out one time. It was during the Babcock system.
I know. So it was perfect. I saw that. Brilliant.
Great. I almost just accidentally did right-click exit. So that would have been uncanny timing. But
that would have been the move. That would have been perfect.
Yeah. Good times. I don't think, yeah. Oh, actually, you know what? The one other thing I wanted to mention, and it is half Wild related, because, again, who knows what happens with Vladislav Firstov. He scored again yesterday, first even strength goal of the year. So he continues to do his thing, but specifically, remember we talked about the fucking 6'7" defenseman, draft eligible. He was like at a point per game already set the record for like scoring as a U18 player in the KHL as a defenseman specifically. He scored his first goal in the KHL, added another assist that game. He's like a point per game on the best team of the KHL. He's 6'7". He's 212 pounds. Like,
what's his name?
Defenseman. Last name's Siliev.
Sure,
I already forget his fucking first name. But I mean, he is like, he could just be on the ice and you're just like, holy, what is that? What is happening? He doesn't even have to have the puck, but it's unbelievable. Like, we know how the KHL stifles development for younger players. They just don't like to play them. And at this point, Torpedo has like no choice. Great name. They don't have any choice but to play him like 18 minutes a night as a 17-year-old, because he's literally like, I think he has 7 points in 8 games or 6 and 7, whatever it is. But like, he's unbelievable. And again, we talk like, for a kid that's 6'7", over 200 pounds, his ability to like move, his agility, and just like overall skating is crazy. So I really do think that's another kid that you can like count on climbing the rankings. He's already like projected mid to late first round as is. I don't know how.
You know where he's going, right?
Yeah, Arizona, baby.
100%.
Yeah, first
overall. At like ninth overall. To Arizona, no question.
We'll see where they pick this year, dude.
I just said that they improved by 3 spots.
That's true. But I mean, he is. It's crazy. Like, just the fact that he's 6'7", they're letting him play, you know, in Russia, even though he's not 35 years old. And he is just lighting it up. And then 2 other notes for the 2024 draft. We talked also before about Finland and how they've got an incredibly strong class. They had 4 or 5 or maybe even 6 kids play in the was it yesterday or Tuesday? Either way, they had 4 or 5 or 6, couldn't tell you, kids actually play in Liga, so play in the first division over there in Finland. Emil Hemming, who I've talked about or tweeted about before, he's been a kid that lit it up at the Holinka on a very bad Finland team, immediately stepped into the U20 league in Finland and was like 11 points in his first 5 games. First game in the Liga for TPS, either yesterday or Tuesday at this point, I don't know. Scores first game. So another kid that was probably projected late first, with how he has just continued to light it up since the Holinka. That's another kid I would expect he's going to continue to climb into like top 15. And then Consta Helenius, who's a top 10 shoe-in, also scored the other day for Ukarit. So Finland's got a bunch of kids that are solid for this draft class. And definitely a couple kids I'll be for sure keeping my eye on. But just a couple of guys I felt like would be good to mention that aren't like the shoe-in top 5 guys.
Oh,
so,
dude, we got to go positive spin here to wrap this up too. Going back to the super thoughtful, not sociopath Mike Babcock. The second he got canned and they replaced him with Pascal Vincent, dude, Patrick Laine is going to have a fucking year. He is so excited. Like, Vincent is his boy, and he could not have been more outspoken about how thrilled he is that this guy gets to be his head coach. I'm putting Patrick Laine up for a resurgent year. Going to torch on the power play too.
Yep. And you know what? I feel like he's already said more positive things about Columbus than he did in Winnipeg. Like, I remember, I think it was either last year or the year. I think it was last year. Someone asked him about like Columbus or whatever. He's like, I don't know why people don't want to sign here. Like, this place rules. And like the nicest thing he could say about Winnipeg before he got traded was like, I don't have anything bad to say about Winnipeg. And that was when he was like lighting it up, one of the best players in the league, scoring fucking 40 goals in his sleep, and just was like, get me the fuck out of Finland. Get me the fuck out of Winnipeg. Which usually the Finnish guys are like, yeah, Winnipeg's just like, oh, at this point. And he was like, bro, this place is...
What, is that like a racist comment because Solani played in Winnipeg?
No. It's like the U.S. guys are just like, I guess I'll go there. Like, I guess the American guys are now going to be campaigning and marketing Winnipeg as a city to the rest of the NHL. And then it's also like the Finnish guys. They're like, yeah, it's great. Same thing. Well, it's cold. It's fucking cold everywhere, isn't it?
Weirdly, I feel like the Canadians hate it the most.
They do.
They're like,
if I'm going to have to play Canada again, any other city. I feel like I would love Winnipeg though.
Would you though?
Everyone I know that's ever been there said it's sneaky, unbelievably fun, and I just, as
for a weekend,
despises the heat. I don't know.
The climate would be right in my wheelhouse for sure.
Right. Come to Winnipeg. Yeah. I don't know who this guy that's posing as potential Sean Cosgrove is lighting it to put the control down. Oh, fuck. I am now reading all of the comments, and they are fucking unhinged. Fucker. Wild. But that was something that should have been mentioned, though, with the Mike Babcock. Good for fucking Pascal Vincent finally getting a coach or finally getting a head coaching job in the NHL. Totally. He's been knocking on the door. Probably should have just got the fucking job this past year. All the guys fucking love him, too. As you said, Laine.
Dude, I got them on a redemption tour this year, too. Like, not only are they healthy now and, like, did a little bit of work to mend up the blue line, but now all of this, Babcock in the rearview mirror, want to prove people wrong, playing for Vincent. I'm not saying they'll make the playoffs, but I'm saying they could, like, flirt with it.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I'll probably put them 5 or 6. Which, by the way, everyone should tune in next week. We'll have, actually, on Sunday, we'll have a live stream. Time yet to be determined, so we will make sure we post that up on the socials. But then we'll be dropping division previews every Monday and Thursday for the next 2 weeks to get everyone ramped up for the new season, which kicks off, what is it, October 10th? is the season opener for the league, and the 12th, I believe, is the home opener
Maybe.
for the Wild.
Couldn't tell you. Now I'll be paying attention.
We're gonna go with it.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, I feel like that'll do it though. Let's get the fuck out of here. Wednesday next week for sure. Are we confirming?
Everyone, we are moving the show to Wednesday for at least next week, and the hope is if it doesn't go horribly, that will be the continued plan moving forward.
Everyone will remember except for me. I will be the one that forgets.
Anyone that shows up and comments about Spoke Z not being here, if he doesn't get here, he owes each of you a Labatt Blue Light with a straw.
And it's now your podcast. It's not mine. I lose it now.
Don't want that.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see you Sunday and Wednesday.
Boom.
End it. Do it.